Hawk, let's play Hawk's radio foray into Canada here, his sports radio foray. And he's got to go here in a moment because he's got a big interview with a Cleveland radio station at 3:30 that he's going to be doing during the show. So, Mike, maybe you want to take over here. Because I love the idea of Hawk as like this wacky character that's just going to contaminate sports radio all over this country and other countries.
I'm acting as Hawk's booker. They're actually going through me, and this isn't even a radio station. It's a .com.
Okay, well, that's good.
Are you going to give the website out so our listeners can listen to you? No, you're not. Okay.
No, we'll play. We'll run tape. We'll run tape on this.
We'll slap it on a reel-to-reel.
Hawk, go ahead and play part of your interview today with this Edmonton radio station.
7:27. David Beauclair covers the Predators. Will join us. Marquee matchup in the National Hockey League tonight. Is Sidney Crosby a dirty player? We've got from Sports Talk 790, The Ticket in Miami, Mark Hochman with us on the show this morning. Mark, how are you?
Hey, very good, Dustin. Kyle, how are you guys doing?
We are doing just fine. 10-8. How are the fans responding to this start?
It's to be expected. I think everybody was looking for 18-0 right now, and they're 10-8, so a little bit of a disappointment, but nothing that the city of Miami can't rally behind and see it turn positive here in the near future.
Is this exactly what people thought would happen, or would people be probably laying off a little bit if they were in that 14-4 or 15-3 area versus 10-8? I mean, they're 2 games over 500.
Awful.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, if you're close to 500, 20 games into the season, that's where all the hubbub and the hullabaloo is coming from. When you start getting into an area where you're playing 500 ball and you're not looking very good against the good teams in the league, well, I would say that that's when you're setting yourself up for the hullabaloo.
Yeah, of course. Now you set him up, you softened him up a little bit, Hawk, with by being schmarmy radio guest. Now hit him with some of the stinky analysis that they don't object to somehow. Listen to this analysis. Listen to the names that Hawk is throwing at them, and there is no rebuttal from the hosts.
Is this a playoff type team? Is this team going to be good in the playoffs? Do you see that, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Arroyo having a great season. I think everyone down here agrees they made a mistake when they gave up Shavlik Randolph. Dexter Pittman certainly not getting the minutes that he deserves. A guy like Blake Ahern that was here a couple of years ago saw pretty well. But for the most part, yeah, I think they've got the pieces. If you saw the game last night, you saw the fire in Juwan Howard's eyes. I don't know if you caught all the game, but Juwan Howard had some fire in his eyes there at the end, and I think that really woke up the crowd.
What else you got there, Hawk? And you're late for your interview in Cleveland, by the way. I don't know how it works on .com. They've got unlimited space. I don't think that they have to be timely.
He's a busy guy, clearly.
Hawk has to get out of here real quick to do a Cleveland radio station. What else you got?
Mark, how would you describe their relationship with head coach Eric Spoelstra?
We only know it from the gossip that we're hearing. We're seeing the same thing that you guys are. Last night it looked like the relationship was fine because they won. And the game before, the relationship wasn't fine. They lost. I don't think that's any kind of mystery. I think, I work on a radio show with Dan Le Batard here in Miami, and when the show is going well and the ratings are good, we get along fine. And when the show's not going well and the ratings are bad, I mean, we sometimes come to fisticuffs.
Nice. I want to...
we sometimes come to fisticuffs with no follow-up question, by the way.
Nice.
No follow-up question. We sometimes come to fisticuffs. We have to create, Hawk, a character that just goes all over the country doing bad sports radio interviews.
Can this team compete and take one of these teams out in the playoffs?
I was just looking at a stat that usually in the morning when I wake up, I start going over stats for the day and figure out where my head is at. And I was looking at a stat that I think the Heat are 9-1 against teams that are less than 500, and they're 1-7 against teams that are over 500. So as I'm doing my morning stat roundup, I'm saying to myself, well, there's a glaring weakness here, and that seems to be that they can't win against the really good teams.
It seems like a lot of people are saying, this team will get a little bit better when Miller comes back because he's that guy who can spot up and shoot the three. How big of impact do you expect him to make when he does come back, and how far away is he?
I don't know how far away he is, but I'll tell you it's going to be huge. I've followed Mike Miller's career for a long time. I've been a huge Mike Miller fan. He's going to make such a difference because when that ball is rotating and it gets into Mike Miller's hands, if he's open, that guy's going to bury a three. And that's what this team needs right now. I think I probably am not speaking out of turn when I say all of Florida is waiting with bated breath for Mike Miller to get into that Heat uni.
Hawk, get out of here. We'll play more of this. Go do your Cleveland interview. Hawk's going to go do his interview in Cleveland. We're going to roll tape on that, see what he comes up with. We got to create this as a character. Mark Hackman.
He needs to do it exactly like that, though.
Hawk, make sure that they know you're a Heat insider.
Yes.
Heat insider, Mark Hackman.
Past.
Are fans down in Miami calling for a coaching change, or is it kind of just the media, maybe with a couple of stories here and there?
I think it's more media with a couple stories here and there. I mean, there are a couple of fans like Mike Buck or Roy Bellamy. Those guys are calling for change, but for the most part, I think people just want to see winning. I don't think anybody really thinks that there's a proverbial panic button that needs to be pushed right now.
Rare to have the fans by name
Really
who are calling for change. Very rare. This guy's plugged in. He's a Heat insider.
First and last name.
There are two fans calling for change, and I'm going to name them for you. It's just those two guys. What else you got from Hawk during this Edmonton radio interview? And keep in mind, Hawk right now is being interviewed by Cleveland. So right now he's creating more magic as this character that we are going to unleash on sports radio.
Kind of reception's he going to get?
I think he's going to get booed.
Yeah, I would think so.
It may change to some applause, and then I think probably booed again. And by the end of the evening, there might been a smattering of applause, but I think mostly booed.
Mark, thanks a lot for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Dustin. Thank you, Kyle. Have a great time. Go Oilers.
Yeah, hey, there
you go. That's what I'm
Thanks
talking
a lot,
about.
man. How about that? It's nice.
Sidney Crosby is dirty, by the way. Sidney Crosby is dirty. I heard
The only thing dirty about Sidney Crosby is his mustache.
Thanks, Mark. We'll chat again, all right?
Have a great day.
All right, that is Mark Hochman from Sports Talk 790, The Ticket in Miami.
Oh, my God.
It's glorious. Now, they walk away. They hang up. Because, we'll have conversations after we go to break, after a good interview. Those guys walked away. That was a good 15-minute spot right there.
Hawk thinks that they're going to invite him back on
absolutely.
After the Cleveland game to break down what happened, that they loved him as a guest. I think your character needs to be Mark Hackman. Here's part of Hochman's interview. He's the new Borat of sports radio. Here it is with Cleveland.com.
So what are the fans in Miami think is going to happen here in Cleveland when they introduce LeBron James at the Q Thursday?
Reaction. Well, it's probably, I would say it's not going to be positive. Definitely, I mean, I would say we're probably anticipating a lot of booing, some hissing, thumbs down, but obviously we're hoping that we can turn those thumbs around and make them go in the other direction.
Now out of Miami, have the fans out there and the media, everyone else, have they found a love affair with LeBron James yet, or they're still teetering on the fence?
This Miami City is not only in love with LeBron James, they are in love with Chris Bosh, they're in love with Dwayne Wade. They are in love with Udonis Haslem. They're in love with James Jones. They're in love with Mike Miller, not as much as we wanted to be because he's injured, but we're still in love. We're going to be deeper in love when he starts to play. They're in love with Shavlik Randolph, even though he got waived. We're in love with Joel Anthony, even though he can't get a rebound. This city loves the team.
Well, how in love are you guys with LeBron for this bad?
All right.
He almost made himself laugh there. Did you hear that?
This is great. This is really great. I can't wait to see to unleash this upon sports radio all over our great land and another great land.
And he managed to weave in Cam Cameron. I mean, how great is that?
But he's going to become, he's going to, his storyline. I used to be at this Cleveland show.
And one more thing, Mark, before we get you out of here. Give me a final score of the game Thursday.
Final score, I will give you 102 to 77.
Oh, man. And if your cat pressure doesn't work out, we're calling you back on Friday.
You want me to give you a Browns-Dolphins score for Sunday, too?
Yeah, let's get that.
102 to 77.
Hey, we love to talk to you, too, man. After this game, get some feedback on you.
Be more than happy to.
Of course.
All
right. Okay, Mark, we want to thank you for coming on. Mark,
He now has 2 weekly spots, one in Edmonton and one on Cleveland.com.
He's very popular. What did they mention about your cat? What happened there? There was a mention. The woman mentioned something about your cat.
Oh, I got to find that clip. They were talking about the pressure that LeBron's going to be facing, and I tried to make some bizarre analogy, which I did. As a cat owner, I feel a lot of pressure to feed my cats well. At that point, I think they just thought I was crazy.
Really?
Like, legit.
That's the point. That's the point where they realized you were crazy.
And I mentioned my favorite cat, Mr. Whiskers. It was, it was a little. That's where I felt I was getting a little too hacky.
Yep.
So I tried to right the ship by asking them if they had ever seen the Brady Bunch, and talked about how Greg and Peter would not always get along, and the same is true for LeBron and Dwayne Wade. I'm not certain what happened there. I know that I had a great time. They invited me back. I really enjoyed it.